Right, Coach, what was it like after the difficult loss last week, and then kind of playing the waiting game and waiting until Sunday to find out if you would get those words of getting into the postseason? What was that like for you?
Well, certainly after our loss against East Bay, it was a very somber locker room to say the least. After the game, which we just took that as a major disappointment. The good thing is we get another opportunity. But to answer your question, just after the East Bay game, we just took about 48 hours to kind of regroup and kind of take in everything that had happened. And we just had to sit back at the fate of others, obviously. But now here we are. And after the selection show on Sunday, obviously we are elated that we get this opportunity, and just that being an at-large bid, not only do you have the fate of others, but you're also, as far as who wins and loses, but also what the committee's going to recognize. And as I told the team, we should be appreciative and grateful that the committee did recognize what the girls did throughout the entire season, not necessarily one or two ball games. And as we say, the body of work. So we put ourselves in that position, and the credit goes to the team. And I'm just really, really excited that not only do we get to play after a disappointment of East Bay, but just that they get to experience, the new players. Obviously, our returning players experienced this last year, but there's no better time if you're a basketball fan than the month of March. And this is a really, really exciting time. Practices have been really good these last couple of days, and we're just going to work our hardest to prepare for a very, very tough Northwest Nazarene team.
How special is this? You're one of 64 Division II teams right now that are still playing.
It's awesome, and that's exactly what I wanted to make sure that the team understood, that 64 teams, that's what this is down to. And you've worked hard, you've earned it, you've deserved this, and we certainly don't want to be content and just happy with being in the tournament. We want to represent ourselves very, very well. And as I mentioned, we're going up against Northwest Nazarene, who's I believe 5th in the country right now. They're a very well coached team. They've had a tremendous season, so we certainly have challenges in front of us. But we have all week to prepare, and we're going to come to San Diego ready to go.
You guys, second straight trip to regionals. You got players on the team now that were on the team last year. How does that help, kind of knowing what to expect? Different venue, every place that you guys have played at, but being in this format now.
Well, I think experience certainly does play a part, and you hope that it plays a part in a positive way. When you've never been on this big of a stage before, and understanding the magnitude of the NC2A tournament. But as you mentioned, we have players who went through this last year, and between myself and my assistant and those players, just kind of educating, so to speak, the other girls, and again, just what this means and just what this is all about. And as you mentioned, we're going into a very familiar gym with UC San Diego, so there'll be some comfort level there. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the team that's the hardest, the team that's the toughest. That's what this is about. You're going to get everybody's best punch, and we certainly want to give Northwest Nazarene our best punch. And we want to leave that game, win or lose, that we seriously played our hardest. We don't want to get out-toughed. We don't want to get outworked. And I think that's where the disappointment lied with our last game with East Bay, is we just left a lot out there. And you can't do that. You're going to pay for that at this time of year. And so we have a second opportunity now, and we must take the most opportunity.
I'm sure after Sunday night you went right to work and watching video on Northwest Nazarene. What have you seen about them that makes them so good? How they've been able to have such a great season?
They have weapons at every position, to be honest with you. They have depth coming off their bench. Again, they're a very well coached team. They're a disciplined basketball team. They're going to present some things to us defensively that I will say we're not going to be totally unfamiliar with. We've played a similar style just with an opponent here in our conference. But again, they present weapons everywhere, and we have to focus on all the things that we always talk about, and we have to execute well. We have to, they score 80-something points a game. They really can put numbers up, and again, just have weapons from across the floor. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. We have to be really on our X's and O's as far as execution, and we have to execute on the defensive end in order to give ourselves a chance to win the game.
I apologize for the third straight week. Last week, you guys were practicing every day, not knowing your fate. There were teams last week during this tournament now that were still playing, practicing for maybe a team to face. But for you guys, I don't want to say any advantage, but just working on your guys' self last week, does that help you guys out going into this week?
Well, of course we hope so. We worked on ourselves, both just taking physically and mentally a rest, so to speak, and just taking a break. But before we hit the floor again last Friday, after having 2 days off, we had we had a good team discussion, we had a good film session, went back out on the floor, and I mean, as they say, this is a new season, anything can happen in March, and so right now our focus is on Northwest Nazarene and just doing be as focused as we can be here for these next few days. And we just want to put the best product of Humboldt State women's basketball out on the floor, whatever that may be. We need to see that Friday at 2:30.
What did you see? And I'm sure you don't want to watch the last game on video. But what are the things that you saw? I mean, there were costly turnovers. But what did you see that just wasn't your traditional, Humboldt State basketball when you guys had the winning streaks? What did you see that went wrong last week?
A little bit of everything. To be honest with you, we did some very uncharacteristic things, as you just mentioned, just as far as not securing and taking care of the ball. That's typically not us. But most importantly, and big picture wise, we typically are that team that are going to outwork and be grimy and out tough and do all those intangible things that I preach every single day. And for whatever reason, we didn't do it that night. And we got the results that we deserved, to be honest with you, that night. And hopefully that was a major wake-up call to the girls. I shouldn't be having this conversation in March of that nature, which is exactly what I expressed to the team. But again, we closed that chapter. There's no sense in revisiting that and continuing to talk about that. Right now, we're just elated to be in this tournament. We want to put all our focus on just preparing the best that we can and give Northwest Nazarene our best shot on Friday.
All right, sounds good. Go get 'em.